there, recording is in progress. So first order of business is approval of minutes from the last meeting. Is there any discussion? Anyone want to move that we approve them?
I'm just rereading them just quickly to make sure.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor?
I shouldn't vote.
Okay.
So this is from March.
March 1st.
Okay, yes.
Mhm. So I very carefully printed this out and very carefully put it somewhere. So the first order of business is going to be the discussion of the mission. And what I'm going to do is I've never shared a screen, but let me just here we go. Here's the mission criteria. Is this sharing the screen with you? I don't know what's going, no?
No,
No.
you want me to
Okay.
do it? I can do it.
Could you? Thank you. Let me get back over to Zoom. There we go. I hit shared screen, but oh, there we go. Thank you.
Mhm.
So, just quickly, if you didn't have a chance to look at this, Ann and I sat down and we looked at the mission statements of recreation committees, commissions in a number of towns, with a focus on towns that are about the same size and or nearby. And we also went over that Title VII, Chapter 45, Section 14 with a fine-tooth comb. And what we found was that there's huge variation. Most of the towns do not include a summary of Title VII, Chapter 45, Section 14. And in fact, the only towns that it really seems to apply to are larger cities that have buildings or facilities that are maintained by a recreation committee, and that's not us. So what many of the towns, the smaller towns had was they might say that they managed youth sports. There was one where they managed the tennis court or they oversaw a park. Not all towns had recreation committees, or they had them and they never meet. And then there were some that had kind of general mission statement that focused on building community and improving quality of life. And when we reflected on conversations we have all had about what the committee does, those were terms that kind of jumped out at us. So we crafted this draft mission that we're hoping we can have a discussion of, hopefully make some amendments that people want to make to it and get it approved if at all possible today. So the mission that we drafted is the Recreation Committee develops recreational activities designed to build community and enrich the quality of life in Shutesbury. The committee sponsors and supports recreational experiences for all age groups. Its work includes designing, creating, and maintaining a community garden and related educational programming. So I'll stop there and give you time to read it, think about it, then we can talk about it.
Barbara, can you send this? Can you just also email it to me so I can?
It was
Yeah,
in the email that she sent with the Zoom link today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Barbara, one other thing, I would just add everybody that Barbara and I talked about keeping this intentionally short because the longer we made it, we felt like it was getting really specific. And then we said, well, we don't really want to commit to many specific things. So, and many of the other ones, God, Barbara, this was so long ago now, but many of the other ones I remember being quite short as well.
Yes.
One question that I had was, with respect to that, why did you choose to put the garden specifically in there?
Ann, can you speak to that? Because I can't remember if we both decided to do that or if that was your idea.
I saw this and I was like, why did we put the community garden in there? boy, Barbara, I can't
I think
remember.
because it's a big part of what we're going to be doing.
I think so. And I think it was also that we were thinking that was something we were committed to, and that also fell to this committee as opposed to something about trails or outdoor, that might also be other committees. But it's a good question, Elaine.
And I also just noticed, apropos of that, is that our work will not continue to include designing and creating a
Mhm.
community garden.
I think we
So,
should really think about this as a long-term statement
Yeah.
Right.
so that we don't have to redo it after
yep.
a few years. Keep it more general and then it doesn't have to be rewritten if,
How
Um,
about just the first two sentences?
so read it again, just the two
Sure.
sentences.
The Recreation Committee develops recreational activities designed to build community and enrich the quality of life in Shutesbury. The committee sponsors and supports recreational experiences for all age groups.
Bing, bada bing, done.
I a little bit more. I would like to make sure that we, I don't know, should we say something that's along the lines of it includes well, recreational experiences. I'm trying to think of what I put into words. Like, I want to make sure that it includes things that are educational, like
Yeah.
the invasive plant stuff, and also things that might be either indoors.
Mhm.
I don't know how to help me out
So-
here. I don't know how to.
Okay, first
Yeah.
of all, I think that recreational doesn't limit us to outdoors. And I was thinking the same thing about the educational programming. So the second sentence could read, the committee sponsors and supports recreational experiences and related educational programming for all age groups.
Great. Okay.
I'm sorry, if you want me to write that into here, I'm gonna have to ask you.
Oh, no, do you want me just to send it to you as soon as the meeting's over? Okay,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Perfect.
So basically, all I'll be doing, and I'm going to read it again because we're going to need to vote on this. So the wording will be, the Recreation Committee develops recreational activities designed to build community and enrich the quality of life in Shutesbury. The committee sponsors and supports recreational experiences and related educational programming for all age groups.
That works for me.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Can someone move that we accept this as the mission statement?
I move.
And a second?
I'll second.
And all those in favor, raise your hand. And Elaine, thank you for sharing your screen. Can you get rid of, oh no, leave it up because of the decision criteria.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So the second thing is, I realized we don't have any way to decide what we do and do not do.
Mhm.
And we're a small committee. We are busy people and we can't do everything. So Anne and I also kind of thought about what are criteria that we could use in thinking about whether or not we would support an activity. One is, do we have the physical space for an activity? So as an example, we really can't do a lending library of snowshoes unless we have a place to keep the snowshoes. Do we have the money? Is there sufficient commitment of time on the part of Recreation Committee members and/or interested residents to organize and run an activity? If someone is not willing to take the lead on something just because it sounds like a good idea, we can't do it. Do we have the logistical capabilities to manage an activity? So for example, with the ice skating, we really didn't have the logistical capabilities to provide a safe and cleared place for skating. If the answer to any one of these is no and interest is high, is there an opportunity to remove the restriction through collaboration with a department or committee? So for example, Marianne is very willing to and interested in co-sponsoring things with us. So if we were to run into a problem with money, she has said, just ask me, and if I can, I'll pick up that additional money. So it may be that we would be able to do things. We might think, oh, this is so great, but no one's willing to do it, or we don't have the money or whatever, but maybe collaborating with another committee would enable us to do it.
Mhm.
So I don't, this isn't something that will go on our website, but these would just be criteria that we could use to help us decide what we can and can't do.
Why
So
wouldn't it-
again,
why wouldn't they?
comments,
Why wouldn't these go on the website? I mean, this is good information for people who want to suggest things to us.
that's true. I haven't done, well, that's a sort of a side thing. Yeah, we could put it on. I like the idea of keeping that initial page very clean, but we might be able to put it in as a link.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we could eliminate those examples,
Yes,
but those are kind of put this out as this is our decision criteria. If you're interested in suggesting activities for us,
Or-
you know, be sure
Do
to
we have
follow them.
something about us being open to work with other committees in town?
yes,
Like,
that's the last point. Yeah. It's that if we can't meet, if we can't do it, we'd be very happy to collaborate with another department or committee.
well, and we have in the past collaborated with.
And we
other-
are now, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
so would
yeah,
it be good to actually list, for example, we have worked with,
Sure,
I mean, that might give people an idea of what we're talking
Mhm.
about.
Mhm.
yep. Because the Family Fun Day is going to be in collaboration with the PE department. Invasive plant expert is in collaboration with the library. So yeah, we could definitely do that. What I would like to do with this, if I may, is hold off on a vote on it until our next meeting. And what I will do is kind of write up what could go into a bullet. Would that be all right?
Yep.
Okay, great, then why don't we just hold on that? And I won't put it on the website quite yet. Thank
Okay.
you again for sharing your screen.
Yep.
All right. Family Field Day. I keep calling it Family Fun Day, but it's Family Field Day.
Oh, I have some good information about that.
Fantastic, go for it.
I met with Chris Gould, who is the coach of both the boys cross country team, and he is the track coach of the track and field team at Amherst High School. And he was absolutely revved. He was so excited about this. He wants to have his teams come out and do demonstrations, like how do you start running from a blocks, getting down in the blocks, and how you start running, how you actually do the throwing, what kind of things you do for jumping, how you do all kinds of things. He was just so excited. I don't know if I just caught him in a mood, but he was really excited about it. It's not a weekend. Well, it's a weekend if if any of their team members goes to nationals, they'll be off going to nationals. But he said, I obviously have a lot of team members who are not going to be qualifying for nationals. And so he was just really psyched about it. And he figured he could get, at least somewhere between 5 and 10 of them to definitely
Great.
come. And he was thinking maybe even 15 or more. And
Wow.
he was into it.
Great. Now, Elaine, are you, because I'm going away from May 28th or something like that until June 8th.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to be here to plan this.
Mhm.
Are you able to take the lead on this?
Yep.
Great. And I know both Christine's and Anne had all said that they were willing to do some work on the planning of this as well.
Mhm.
Is that still true for everybody? I don't want to, great.
If
When is
one
this
of
event?
you,
What?
and you're shaking your
Right.
head.
Yeah, no, I just found out I have a good friend coming into town the week of June 6th. So I'll be here for the date, but I won't be available the week right before it.
Could
Okay.
could I ask you, since you have such great editing skills, could I ask you to craft something for the kids' newsletter?
Oh, yeah, sure. That would be fun, Elaine.
Yeah, that would be great, because then we'll put that in the newsletter probably, starting in May, and we'll have it ongoing in the newsletter.
That's great.
So what
Great.
is the
And
actual?
I'm not gonna be here that weekend. I'm
Okay.
gonna be in Pennsylvania. So sorry, but I'm not gonna be able to help with,
Yeah,
but
Well, you had already said you weren't going to, so we
I
knew
know, I
that.
just, it
It's
it
okay.
definitely,
Yeah.
I mean, not that I can't, I could help make a flyer or something
Mhm.
before, but for the actual day, I
Mhm.
can't.
What is
Okay.
the actual day?
June
11th.
11th at 10:30 a.m.
June 11th. Okay. I'll be gone, dates unknown right now in the last couple of weeks in May. I'll be gone the beginning of June, but I will be here the 11th.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, my sense is, having spoken to Steve, that there isn't, he had some really great ideas,
Mhm.
and I put some specific activities into the town newsletter.
Mhm.
And so he's also really revved and excited.
Yeah.
I've only met him the one time, but when I wrote to him, he was so excited about all of this. So I'm guessing that a lot of it is going to be making sure we have whatever equipment, and Steve is going to provide that, and then day of getting things set up.
So there's only two other things. The first, obviously, well, three things. If Anne, you're doing the announcement, and we can put that through on the town announce also.
Mhm.
And then we're going to need somebody to figure out refreshments and somebody to figure out prizes or awards or whatever. And I'm not sure what to do on that. BZ, do you have any ideas on awards?
That is a good question.
mean, they don't
What
have
are
to
the
be-
typical kind of things in a track meet like you would give as an award?
Fastest runner, longest thrower.
But I mean,
longest
you give,
jumper.
it's not a trophy, it's a,
No, I don't think we need trophies. I think is there some place that does like mass produced ribbons, like ribbons?
well, there are trophy places. There are places, I think there's one in Greenfield actually that it's like a place you can go. They might have other kind of little plaques or that. You know what? Hastings makes stuff like that.
Do they?
Little signs, they have a big book of stuff like that. You could
I
go.
wonder if you wanted to go even less formal, Elaine, does anyone shop at Michael's? I mean, would ribbons be something that Michael's would have? Yeah, what?
Yeah,
It'd be
Christine?
crappy quality.
How about just printed out certificates?
Oh, there
Yeah.
you go.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
But the kids might want something sort of fun, like,
I was thinking like a ribbon around their neck. What's the, oh God. we used to-
we're going up to that fabric store tomorrow, and we could look for ribbon up there. They might have something.
Okay, wasn't there a place that you could mail to that you would get, like, I'm trying to think, my kids aren't young anymore, that you could get a whole, like, 2 dozen worth of little, like, hang around your neck things that were kind of generic award.
Like those lanyards?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, Christine.
Is it Oriental Trade?
Oriental trade.
Yes, yes.
That is what it is, yeah.
You got
Yeah,
it,
a lot
got
of
it.
lucky
Thank
stuff,
you.
but that would be good
I'll
to
check
know.
them out and see if
Great.
it's prohibitive.
Mhm.
'Cause
Yeah, I just looked up a bunch of things. There's somebody called Mr. Trophy. There's all kinds of places that do little ribbons and things.
Okay, I'll try, I'll go for something that's, not something expensive, but
Mhm.
something that would be fun for the kids, because who knows, we might have 3 kids show up, we might have 100 kids show up.
Yeah, Steve was pretty certain that a lot of kids would show up, that they'd really enjoy this.
Yeah.
Is
Um,
school still in session? Will school?
Yes,
they
one more
will go
week.
back
One more week.
another week.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In terms of refreshments, clearly lots of water.
Yeah.
Because they'll be running around getting overheated.
Yeah, Chris can
Um,
bring the big water cooler that they have.
Okay. And then we should have some money in our budget to purchase some water and other kind of drinks. I don't know what approved drinks are for children anymore, because didn't juice boxes go out of favor? Because
Mhm.
that's mainly sugar too.
Let's just do water. Let's
Okay,
just do water. And do we want to do cookies? Like, does anybody have a
Sure.
Costco membership that they could get the major, boxes of cookies? Christine, you do?
I have BJ's.
Oh, same thing.
perfect.
Yeah. So if you could do that,
Yep.
Great.
that'd be great.
Maybe popcorn.
Yeah.
Is there a way to find out how many kids would be coming? Like a sign up kind of thing?
It might be last minute though that they come. It's gonna all be weather dependent.
Mhm.
And we should have a rain
Yeah.
date. Can we use the 18th as a rain date?
Sure.
Okay. Or would you rather do the 12th as the rain date?
It's so hard to tell,
Yeah.
I don't know what the likelihood is, how to run the odds of it being more or less likely 1 week from then or the next day.
It's
So,
such a busy time of year for kids and families. Like graduation is Friday, the 10th. So if kids have older siblings, and there could be graduation parties, and it's just, it's a really busy
mm,
time. So you might have a rain date, but it might not.
mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah, I think I put something vague in the newsletter about how a rain date would be determined.
mm,
Um, And we could also ask Steve what his suggestion would be as well, because he would know more about the kids' schedule.
Okay.
is it, we're committed to doing it on a weekend and not
Yes.
as an after, a school event?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, because the high school, they wouldn't be able to come on the afternoon.
They couldn't do an after school event.
No, they
Okay.
wouldn't
I'm
do
just
an
thinking we might have better attendance if it was not on a weekend.
Mhm.
But we want
With soccer.
we want the parents to be there and
Mhm.
participate. Oh, the other thing that I did, I wrote an email to both Walter and Kristen to see if they would be interested in having, some of their equipment there and, show off the fire department and the police
Oh,
department.
right.
stuff.
Mhm.
And I didn't hear anything back from either of them.
Really?
I'll try again.
Yeah, do. That would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Mhm.
surprised that I didn't hear from them.
Hmm.
Because they're usually pretty good about that. So
Yeah.
I'll get in
They
touch.
might do that already, you know, this, was the school having a field day? Was he organizing a regular field day?
He was
during the
organizing a regular field day, but they don't participate in that.
Well, they have in the past. When I was there, they used to come,
Oh,
particularly when Tom Harding was the police chief. He used to
Mhm.
come and do a whole thing with the
Mhm.
kids.
Hmm.
So maybe they're already planning to do something, and
Okay.
yeah,
I don't
but
know.
you'd think they would still even respond to say, no,
yes,
we
you would
aren't.
think. That would be
You
the
would-
right thing to do.
that would be the right thing to do, right?
Yep.
Okay. So thank you, Elaine, for being the point person on this.
Sure.
And, let us know if there's things that we can do to be helpful.
Okay.
Okay, orienteering. My goodness. So I got a long email from him. The area that we are thinking about doing it in is north of Lake Wyola, including the property of the camp, a little bit of the woods in the Fisk Woods that's in Wendell, and then part of it in the state park. So he went and ran the trails, was very enthusiastic. His name is John. So John went, ran the trails, was very enthusiastic. He said it's an absolutely perfect place for a beginning event. He said he was going to be able to, after having done it, to cut the price down to $1,200. So that was good. That's a savings of $300. And this includes the cost of making the map. And he was willing to throw in basically for free to put all of the buildings in the Camp Anderson on the map as a way of sweetening the pot for them, because they would then be able to use the maps. So I've kind of gotten over my reluctance around, well, sort of gotten over it, but basically it's an odd arrangement. We pay John the whole fee. The New England Orienteering Club gets the map, gets to decide who uses the map. They will write in that we can use the map and the camp can use the map and the town of Wendell can use the map. So that's good. We can use the map. But the copyright is held by the club. So it's just an odd arrangement that we pay everything. So I wrote, and meanwhile, we have to get permissions from all three of these. So initially, it was going to be that I would need to call the camp and get permission from them. But then, oh no, we also need to get permission from the town of Wendell, and we also need to get permission from the state. So I took it upon myself, and if anybody doesn't like this, I'm so sorry because I already did it. I just wrote back and I said, this is an odd arrangement. But I understand the reason for it, which is to make sure that the map is in a place where people can access it, as opposed to making the map and then having its very limited availability. But perhaps the club could, given that they're going to get the map, might be able to help out a little by making some of these calls. And I said, the reason is that if I call, I don't know what objections I might face. I've never made a call to anybody asking if I could make an orienteering map. And kind of my modus operandi is that when I'm going to make a call about something, I know all of the possible objections, all the possible questions. I have written answers to them so that if I get asked, I can answer them. I've never done this before. I'm guessing none of us have ever done this before. So I just asked, would that be something that they would entertain, just making some of those calls? Radio silence. Radio silence. And I even said, I'd also be happy with a telephone call, just so I know what to expect when I call. Plus, for the state, they have made maps in other state parks to just say to me, well, go call is like not helpful because I don't know who to call. And they clearly have made these calls before. So I just thought, would they help?
Are they a private nonprofit organization? Are they?
Yes,
Yes, the first, okay,
I believe so, yes.
okay. And you say they hang on to these maps. And when you say they decide who can use the map, I mean,
People pay to use the maps.
I see.
So we pay all the fees, they get the copyright, and then people pay a small fee to be able to use the map. We would not have to, the camp would not have to, and Wendell would not have to
Mhm.
pay. They would write in that we have access to the map in perpetuity.
When you say we, does that mean just us as the recreation committee? or
Town of Shutesbury.
Town of Shutesbury, okay.
Yep.
But the
Town of
map would
Shutesbury.
be like, I kind of don't understand this, like they're gonna keep it hidden, like,
No, in fact, quite the opposite. They keep basically a library of these maps that have been designed for orienteering events. And then if a group wants to do an orienteering event, they can go to the New England Orienteering Club, ask about what maps they have, where the maps are, and then pay a fee to use this copyrighted map.
mhm.
And the maps can be very detailed. We are not getting a very detailed map because we're doing this as a beginner thing. So they aren't going to have to be like crashing through the woods. And these are races. I mean, people are racing around trying to find these points. And anyway, it's not going to be like that. It'll be family oriented. I still think it sounds like a really great event. But quite frankly, it's been very stressful because I have to keep being asked to do things I just literally don't know how to do, nor is there any reason for me to know how to do these things. So what I would like when I wrote that original email of I just don't want to, I just want to put it off making a decision with him. I'm personally happy to go forward with it. But if I don't get some help around these phone calls, I don't want to spend a whole pile of time kind of dredging through state offices trying to find out who the person is. It's just maybe someone here would do that, but it's gotten a little overwhelming. Let's put it that way.
Sorry to interrupt. Why are you thinking, I'm just curious why you're thinking phone call instead of putting it in writing, since the permission would clearly need to be something in writing, right?
Because he told me to.
He said to call, huh?
He specifically said to call.
And you don't know who to call.
No. I mean, the camp is easy.
Yeah.
Town of Wendell's probably easy.
Yeah.
But the state department of whatever it is that owns the park, that's not so easy. And then it turns out in this last missive that everybody has to be contacted twice, which wasn't clear the first time. So every time I talk to him, there's more stuff that I need to do. So the first time it was just, oh, you just need to contact the camp. And then, no, you need to contact the camp and you need to contact Wendell. And then it was all three. And then it turned out that there's the contacting for the permission, and then there's the contacting to tell them that he's actually going to be out there surveying. So I'm trying to nail him down, but this is when radio silence hit. This was the other thing, which was and all I wrote was, it sounds like there's 2 calls each, and that, here's the first set of calls. And that's when I said, if it's possible for someone from the club to do this, that would be really great. You've done it before, we haven't. But I've heard nothing back.
How long ago did you?
This wasn't all that long ago, but he wrote me, and this was maybe a week ago. So it hasn't been a huge amount of time, but I guess I expected sort of well, I'll check on that kind of an email, but I didn't get that.
And Barbara, these permissions would have to be in writing, correct? So,
I would think so, but it's all very vague.
I mean, you can't just get somebody on the phone who says, oh yeah, sure, and you don't even know who that, I mean, you don't know if that person had the right to, I'm just troubled that maybe you end up like, you get a good result on the phone, but then you keep calling because you haven't gotten the letter, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
uh,
I mean, I guess what I'd like to know is whether, my inclination is to, well, back up. If we decide not to do it, the implication of that is that then we pay the whole fee. So we have $1,000. We're about to spend $250 on to Zoe for the farm. He was going to get $500 for the map out of this fiscal year's money. And then the invasive plant guy cost $650, and we were going to give him $250, and Marianne was going to give $350. If it turns out that we're not doing the map, then we would pay more of the money for the invasive plant guy. So I kind of need to know what we're gonna do about this, and from him, just because we don't have $1,200 to pay him from next year's budget. You know, as you know, I asked for $3,000. Hopefully we got $3,000, and that included the money to pay the balance on the orienteering. So
Have you given him a deadline? Like I have to have an answer from you by such a date?
I
or-
didn't because it didn't dawn on me that he wouldn't get back to me sooner. So
So maybe
I
you
think
need
I'm,
to go back to him and just say, if I don't hear from you, we're out. Or, you know,
Right.
like be sort of firm with him about this. And I'm
yeah.
a little frustrated because I haven't heard back from you, and my committee, you can blame us. You could
Oh, I'm
just-
going to. Oh, no, that, I already decided that.
Yeah,
I
the
don't-
committee's getting a little frustrated and.
You would not believe these committee members. Yeah,
You just say, I mean, given it could even be an artificial date that is, but just pick a date and just say, if we don't, the committee decided if we haven't heard from you by then we're out.
yeah,
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 that's what I would say.
okay.
So I'm researching this while we're talking, and there is a mass.gov site about getting special permissions to use a state park. And to apply for there's an application process. It's really not a phone call. There is a help desk if you have questions about your doing it, but there's a whole process. So there's an application fee of $45. And then for a small event of 100 to 500 people, it's $250 per day. For a mid-size event, it's $1,000, and a large event, it's $2,000. And there's an application process, and it lays out what you need and so on. You have to have a certificate of liability insurance. You have to have like a lot of things. So
Yeah.
it's not a phone call.
Well, these are two different things, though. That we might need to do to actually have the event, because Elaine and I and April went and walked around, and it's going to have to be in the fall because there isn't sufficient parking for it to be in the summer over in Fisk, because people wouldn't be able to park in the Lake Wyola parking lot. So the event has to be in the fall. And at that point, we would be setting up tables and things for that event. And that's when we would need to do that. This is just literally permission to make a map of property that we don't own. So the problem at this point is that the invasive plant guy, who actually does have a name, his name is Brian, he's going to be coming on May 6th, and I can buy a little bit of time because Marianne is going to pay him, and so she doesn't have to go through. Apparently, she doesn't have to go through the cycle with the town to cut this check, and then we'll just pay her. So I've got a little bit of extra time, but I need to know whether we're paying him the $500 for the map. And I need answers to these questions before proceeding.
So based on what Christine just read and the idea that if we were ever going to use the maps again, we would have to pay $250 each time we did a orienteering project. Otherwise, the maps, you say they're going to be available to Shutesbury, and how would we let
All
people
right.
know so that they would do it on their own? I'm wondering if this is, if we should rethink the whole thing.
I'd be happy to rethink it. This has just been stressful.
Yeah,
So Elaine, just to clarify what you're saying, from what Christine was reading, it sounds like in the future, if anyone wanted to do an orienteering event, they would still have to go through that application process and pay those fees again.
because unless you're just doing it on your own, like you and your family kind of thing, you and your friends, then if you have an organized event,
Mhm.
what I'm hearing from what she wrote, if you have
Yeah.
an organized event, you have to have that liability insurance because, we were
Yeah.
walking around there. If somebody
Yeah.
falls in the water and
Oh, that's right.
be pulled out and all that kind of thing, this might be more than we really want to take on.
Mhm.
Okay.
But
We-
but wait, we do have the South Brook Conservation Area, which is all in Shutesbury.
Where is the South Brook Conservation Area?
It's the north end of Lake Wyola. The Conservation Commission just received community preservation money to kind of map out their trails and look at what actually they have there. So that could be it'll be a simpler process. It'll be a smaller piece of land, I think. Maybe not as well. It has streams and stuff on it. So it
The
might,
issue is having a network of trails.
yeah, it has a network of trails.
Okay. Because they're not really showing up on, I'm just looking at,
Well,
footpath.
that was the whole reason that the Conservation Commission came to the Community Preservation Committee for money because they don't have well-developed trails, they don't have signage and stuff like that, and that's what they were looking to do.
Okay,
So this might be something
that would make it a lot easier.
future, and it make it a whole lot easier. It's just the town. We know where
Yeah.
to go. It's the Conservation Commission. And then the maps would be available to all of Shutesbury, and they could possibly we could put up, like the little kiosk, like a
Mhm.
lending library kiosk that has the maps, the orienteering maps there for people to use.
I will, okay,
What do you,
That
what does
sounds-
everybody else think? Anybody?
Wait, say that again, Elaine?
What does everybody else on the committee think? Christine?
I think it's too complicated.
the whole thing.
Yeah, and I don't know. Too many hoops.
Mhm.
I mean, what's the goal of this, I guess, is to get people out in the woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to get people using the trails. And it seems like we've now gotten to this point where we're spending money paying other organizations for their and I'm sort of with Christine. It just seems like, well, what if we just sponsored some hikes in the woods and made it, I don't know. I mean, what is our goal really in doing it is to get people outside and use some trails. And
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, I think this was actually, Elaine suggested this. We could also just have a scavenger hunt.
yeah, couldn't we make
Yeah.
our own kind of like
Yeah.
fun for kids and I'd be up for that. That sounds way more fun than paying all this money for every time you gotta use that, you know, it seems like it's I don't know, I don't want to say a waste of money, but it just doesn't seem like a good use of our funds.
Yeah, Christine?
What are those things that, it's sort of a scavenger hunt, but there's little books that you leave
Yeah.
and the kid will sign their name and put a date on.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
There's a name to that. I don't know
Questing,
what is it?
questing,
Questing?
questing.
that kids like to do that.
Yeah, I've done that with my nieces and nephews and their kids, and it's really fun.
How about also, here's a wild idea, incorporating a scout, boy or girl scout who would want to do this as their outdoor orienteering project. And then it's not only free, we are giving them something.
An Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout, that's it. An
Mhm,
Eagle
their
Scout.
project, yeah. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, does anybody like sitting here having this, oh, but I was so looking forward to it?
Mm-mm.
Good, okay. I'm gonna write him today and just say, I can't believe my committee. I am blaming all of you, so.
I feel bad that you've done all this work, Barbara, towards this.
No, don't. I'm glad I started. It was my idea. I thought it sounded like a really fun idea, but it's not worth the work and effort. It's just been
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
stress
Yeah.
than it's been worth. Okay, well, that's an easy one.
Take
It
the
also means
stress
we have
away.
extra money in our budget next year. So this is not on the agenda, but just as an aside, Zoe, excuse me, of Ancient Pony Farm called me the other day. She is so excited about working with us around the community garden. I cannot begin to tell you. I couldn't believe it when I picked up the phone and it was Zoe. And just, I'm so excited. When is it starting? She just wants to do everything she possibly can. So, and I definitely want to, for anything that she does, you know, we want to be able to reimburse her. So now we have more money available for
There you
other
go.
things. So that's really great.
So Barbara, just on that point quickly, with the money from this year's budget, you had said if we don't do the orienteering, we would pay more for the invasive plants, but didn't we
I'll just
talk
pay
in
the
a-
whole thing.
Okay, but didn't we talk in a previous meeting too about maybe upping Zoe's?
Oh, that's right. I could also up
Payment.
Zoe. Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Okay.
she's getting so much less than the
Yeah,
invasive plant
Yep.
person.
yeah, yeah, the invade, yeah.
So if that was still on the table, I would be
Yeah.
support that.
Yeah, or maybe she
thing to-
could have a follow-up workshop, you know, she could have one in the summer too. Maybe
Yeah.
we throw her more money. If she's really excited about this, we give her
Mhm.
money for another workshop, you know, like,
Yeah.
And her gardens are so beautiful in the summer and in the fall when the tomatoes are just, you know, like falling
Yeah.
off the vines and everything. That would be great.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
but-
to inspire people for, you know, gardening projects, let's have a follow-up with her, see if she would do something. Because maybe not everybody can come the first
I
time and,
can't.
you know,
Yeah.
like
I'm
me,
bummed. Yeah, like me, I'm bummed.
Mhm.
yeah.
That's a great idea. One thing to consider though, in having, in what we pay her is she will be doing other workshops. And so we have to be mindful of how much we pay her, because then that would cut down on how many times we could use her. So, you know, it's just,
Yep.
I don't know how high you would like me to go, but I would be inclined not to pay her what we're paying Brian, because she will be doing multiple workshops for us. I mean, I could see going up to 300. I let on the figure of 250 because, Anne, you had said when you talked to Mary Ann, she said it kind of averages out to that. So would you want me to pay her more? And if
I
so,
didn't
how
realize
much?
she was gonna do multiple workshops, so
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
totally
yeah.
fine with 300 and
Okay.
I think it
Three-
would be, I mean, she's got a good, Mary Ann in her email today said there are only 2 spots left, right? So there's a good
Yeah, that's filled
turnout,
up.
so.
Mhm.
How many total?
The last I heard, there were 18 people, and that was actually what we had set as the max.
Wow.
Mhm.
Does
So
that include us?
anybody who's only if you signed up, otherwise just show up. Don't worry about it. Zoe was like, oh, you can bring 30, 40 people. So,
Well, I signed up. That's why I'm asking if I'm taking
yeah.
a space that somebody else.
no, you're fine. You're fine.
Well, I
So-
think we're onto something. If this is filling up quickly, I think there's an interest here.
Yep,
Forget orienteering. Let's go, let's.
okay,
turn it
we'll just
away.
spend all that money with her.
Yeah,
Okay,
So we'll give her 300 and then
Okay.
depending on how this goes, we'll invite her to do a follow-up. I mean, we should probably wait and let it happen because we might get ideas about what we'd like to ask her to
Mhm.
do.
yeah,
That's a great
a
idea. Christine.
follow-up, You know, and then ask her
Mhm.
after.
yeah, and she'll have some ideas.
Would
That
you,
sounds great.
would you ask her on Saturday? I'm not going to be able to be there. Would you ask her um, if she doesn't mind people coming to see? Like you took me walking through her gardens, and I didn't know whether that was, we were just kind of wandering on our own. Is that okay?
I will ask her, but I will tell you, she loves people just coming. People are invited to walk into the pastures. She has 3 female goats. Over the last week and a half, all 3 have had babies, and all 3 had triplets, and
Wow.
all 3 triplets were 2 males, and you get to pick them up and hold them.
Ooh.
so
I'm
Barbara,
telling you,
can we just go with you over there sometime? You
Yeah,
just take
oh
us
yeah,
over there?
yeah, I walk up there all the time. I go in, we probably go up 4 or 5 times a week and walk into the pastures just to look at the animals.
Fun.
It's really nice. Yeah, I will specifically ask her about that, but they really are, they are so about community. So about
Great.
community.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm so happy about the orienteering.
I
My feet are
Barbara,
doing a
I
little
really
happy dance.
appreciate you not, like, you were so good at keeping your poker face. I was like, I think Barbara really still wants to do this. And then you're
No,
like,
no, she really doesn't.
I can see your shoulders lifting because they're weight.
Oh, sorry. This is being recorded. Need a new chair. That woman's going crazy there. Okay, so the last is just an update while Zoe's workshop is filled up. I think there's all of 2 of us signed up for the invasive plants right now. Marianne and I had just a very brief exchange about this shortly before the meeting because she was asking about, should we go ahead with it? Should we put it off? My inclination was to go ahead with it. And the reason being, if there isn't a lot of interest now, there isn't going to be a lot of interest in a month either during the summer when it gets even busier. So one of the things I wanted to do is get a hold of whoever it is who's head of the garden club and ask them to let the garden club know. Who is that?
It's either Meryl or Gail, isn't it? BZ?
Rita's very
Oh,
involved.
Rita also, yep. Rita, Meryl.
Rita,
and Gail.
Meryl, Penny Jacques she's a master gardener. She's involved.
Yep.
Okay,
Um,
I'll send an email. I know Gail and Penny, so I'll send emails to them and ask if they'd be willing to just kind of let the people in the garden club know.
And we can have the information at the library site, May
Mhm.
1st.
Good idea.
Here's an
Mhm.
idea. Maybe somebody from the garden club would like to, when their gardens are in full bloom this
Mhm.
summer, maybe, I mean, Shutesbury used to have a garden tour.
oh, I
But-
love that.
Oh,
Maybe somebody from that group could organize a vegetable growing tour, not flowers, but
right.
to tour people's gardens like Elaine's,
Elaine's, yeah.
in town that have interesting vegetable gardens. That could be a fun thing
Let's
instead
do
of
the
flower.
flower one too. Can't we do a combo?
Yeah, it could be both, but I mean, they have
Yeah.
done a flower one in the past.
Oh,
But it might be fun to see some interesting vegetable gardens.
yeah.
Well, see, this is a perfect example of going back to our criteria. It's a really wonderful idea. If somebody would be interested in kind of taking this on and having us do it in conjunction with the garden club, that would be really neat.
I'm happy to be involved in that.
Oh, super. Okay.
I
That
just
would be-
don't have emails for the garden club people. I mean, I have
Mhm.
Rita's, but I don't have other.
I can
Yeah.
send them to you. I have them all.
Okay, send me some of
Great.
the garden club people and I'll see if anybody there wants to help coordinate that.
Yeah,
Because
Christine?
that'd be fun to do in like September. when the garden, or, late
Mm.
August, beginning of September, when things are at their, before people
Mhm.
harvest everything. That's sort of a fun. It might be inspiring for the.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Christine?
I'm just curious, when is this invasive plant workshop? And also, I'm just curious, are we going to have a minimum number of people in order to hold it? Like if just 2 people, you said just 2 people are signed up, we're not going to pay this guy $500 for 2 people, right?
Well, he's coming on, it's the 7th, May 7th.
May 7th.
And, hopefully we'll be able to drum up enough people to have him come. Quite frankly, I don't want to deal with him anymore.
Mm.
He treats me like I'm an idiot.
Oh, nice. Is that what he's gonna treat us like when,
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
think so. When he's talking
Sure.
about plants, he's fine. But my favorite email from him was, don't you think you ought to talk to your committee about? Geez, I'm too stupid to have thought about that. I already did talk to the committee about whatever it was, but he's so patronizing. I have
He's a
not told him,
mansplainer, a mansplainer.
Yeah.
I have not told him what I did for a living, but I don't think it would make any difference. So
So would you, I mean, the 2 people are 2 people, not like anybody from this committee or whatever, I'm assuming.
2 people are me and Marianne at this point.
Ah, so would you hold it for just the 2 of you? Or?
I don't know what we're gonna do about this. I mean, he's a more serious, this is his business.
Right.
And so it feels more complicated than like saying if it was Zoe, I could say, well, it looks like next week is gonna be better. Oh, yeah, sure, that's fine. She's right here. He's driving from Newbury, Mass. I'm just hoping we can drum up. I mean, I think
But
if we
we-
can even get 10 people, that
We
would be
can't
good.
outright cancel. Is that correct?
I
Are
don't
you
know.
contacted?
Yeah. I wonder if people just like want more joy in their lives, and so focusing on invasive plants is just not, maybe if it was like ferns or like they're like, or the vegetables. I mean, it's kind of interesting that
Yeah.
Barbara, and I told you I will come too. I just have to, I have
Oh.
a scheduling conflict. So, but it's still, is it worth it to see about outright canceling?
I
mean,
really,
I'll put it
Marianne
down.
and I have decided we're just gonna go ahead with that.
Okay.
We're paying 250, she's paying 350, so we're not paying the whole thing. That's not 600 out of our, well, I guess it is now because of,
Mhm.
of, the
So
orienteering thing, unless
I
someone can
haven't
come.
signed up yet, but I'm interested. I'm having surgery on Wednesday and I'm not sure if I'm gonna
Oh.
be up for it or not. I mean, I'm hoping I'll be able to come, but I'm sort of, I'm a
Yeah.
maybe, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna walk up the street. Kevin, I can't remember his last name, is always out tearing up invasive, so I'm gonna try to strong arm him. I bought a whole bunch of books. I bought 20 books on invasive plants in Massachusetts, and anybody who comes gets a book. So how's that for a,
Driving
good.
people.
oh yeah, oh yeah. They were
Maybe-
inexpensive.
Maybe people aren't signing up because invasive plants equals work. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
whereas just identifying ferns seems like fun.
I know, that's what I was saying, BZ. It's like, no one wants to think about it in this world we're living in.
Yeah.
Well, it's 4:30, so I want to be mindful to the time.
Yeah.
Could someone move that we adjourn the meeting? And second, and all in favor? Okay,